thing, and we're ready to do the thing. And
All right. Okay. Well, welcome everybody to Global Spa Blab. My name is Linda Harding Bond. I am your host. I'm a global spa consultant. I've been in the industry for 19 years. I am a spa trainer and also creator of Increasing Your Retail Selling, an online training class for spa managers. My co-host is Norm Bond. Norm is a digital marketing manager. Norm, for the folks who don't know what that is, tell them what you do.
what I do is I use digital technology to make it rain.
Okay, that works for me.
We make it rain clients, we make it rain conversions, we make it rain connections. And, for more details, visit the website at normbond.com.
There you go. Okay, so just for the people who have not been on Blab before, let me give you a quick run through. If you have a comment, and please have many, you can put them on your right side. Type them in. If you have a question, just put a /Q. Type your question in. It will pop from the right side of the screen to the left side. And if you like what we're saying, you can just click on the hands at the bottom of our pictures here. So tonight's topic is what top spas do to win that they don't want you to know. And Norm, there's always a story behind these topics when we pick these topics. And I thought that I would pick up from the conversation that we had last month with the spa consultant Judy Pankey of JM Pankey Partners. But there's another method to my madness, and I have to tell you what happened to me this week. So this week I was on LinkedIn. I'm always on LinkedIn, and I saw where the spa was doing very, very well. And they had a picture of the spa manager and his assistant manager and whatnot. And I sent him a congratulations, and he responded. He said, "Thank you very, very much." And I said, "You look like it looks like a beautiful property." He responded back again. He was like, "Thanks. The property is great." And I said, "You guys have done so well. Can you give us one or two tips for what you do to win?" Crickets. No response. Nothing. So remember, Norm, this is a topic. This is something that we talked about last month with Julie, where she felt, I feel as though there needs to be more interaction. People need to share more. And she felt as though, too, as did John David Mafia, that maybe there could be a little bit more sharing between us to make things better for the industry. So I figured tonight, because I have worked at some dynamite spas, one in particular, I know what these spas do. I know a lot of what they do. And I thought that I would share what I know and also what I have gleaned throughout the years of training at these spas. What do you think about that?
That's good.
Because I know their secrets. Okay. All right.
Secrets revealed.
So, secrets revealed. Okay. So, I want to start with this. A lot of spas are struggling. However, the magic number seems to be 15% in the spa industry. We're talking day spas. 15% of day spas are thriving. Let me give you all some numbers. 15% of day spas always are selling 30% plus of products. And the average is from 3 to 10%. 15% are turning their products over 7 to 10 times per year. 9% of spas are making from $1 to $2 million per year. And another 9% are actually making over $2 million a year. So that's why they don't want to share their secrets. Even though I kind of don't understand it still, because normally there's 100,000 spas in the world today. that means there's a lot of people who want to go to spas. I mean, what are you holding on to your secrets for? You know, if I live in New Zealand, you can tell me. I'm in Bangkok. You can tell me what you do. I don't think my customers are going to be your customers. You know what I'm saying?
I do. I do.
So let's start to talk about the things that they do. And primarily, there are five. There are top five things that they do. Number one, they know who their audience is. They identify their audience. Why do you guys think that's important? And the question I would throw out too is, if you guys work at a spa or any business that you work at, do you know your audience? Do you think the managers there really know who your audience is? If somebody said, Queen Bee, who is your primary customer? Would you know? Norm, do you know who your audience is?
Well, that's a good question. And that's one of the questions I always ask people when we talk about marketing is identify your audience. I had the conversation today, in fact, with someone I was talking with, because if you don't know your audience, who your audience is, you can waste a lot of money. And you also need to know who your audience is not, particularly because when you talk about digital marketing and you talk about, let's say, Facebook or LinkedIn or Blab for that matter, where you have hundreds of millions of people who are on these platforms, billions in the case of Facebook. So for most people, everybody is not your audience. And often, you know, that's when you talk to some entrepreneurs, business people, they say everybody's my audience. Well, that tells me you don't know much about targeting and about your audience. So when you know that audience, now if you go on to a LinkedIn or Facebook or Twitter, wherever to do advertising, you can whittle that 1.6 billion people down to about the 100,000 that might be relevant for your audience, and you can just advertise to that one particular segment, which means that your information will be much more relevant, that you should get much more engagement with your audience. Your information will be more valuable to them, and it should convert better to the objective that you have. If your objective is to make brand awareness and make people know about you in that particular niche, that should benefit. If it's to sell product to people in that particular niche, it should happen better. And if it's to recruit and hire people from that particular niche to join your company, that should happen. So yeah, I know my audience, and that's where that's one of the basic questions I ask anybody who I'm gonna work with for an event, to grow their business and what have you. And I'm always surprised by how many people don't know and have never really thought about it. So yeah, I know mine. It's you.
Okay, well,
watching.
Well, I'll tell you, with spas, it's very important. And you mentioned one reason, it's the product. When you know your audience, everything revolves around that guest. The products that you pick, your staff. Like if your audience is, let's say you have most of your guests who come are seniors. They don't necessarily want to come to a spa that's got a bunch of little 21 and 22-year-olds there. They need to have someone there that they can relate to, who can relate to their skin. Or if you choose to have the little, the young millennials behind the desk, you have to make sure that your therapists are older because they'll be able to relate to them. It impacts the furniture that you pick. I remember when I was working at this spa and the owner decided to change the decor. The spa that I worked at had a mixture of people. We had people coming in their 20s, their 30s, but we had a lot of people who were in their 50s and 60s coming in. And she chose these sofas. They were really sharp. They were leather, but they were so low to the ground. first thing I thought of was, how are the ladies going to be able to get up out of those seats? So it looked really sharp, but there are certain considerations that you have to think of. So it
She
impacts the
wouldn't.
furniture. It
Did she think?
impacts,
Did she think she was in Bangkok? Because in
huh?
Bangkok, I was wondering if she thought she was in Bangkok. Because in Bangkok, you will find some furniture that is low to the ground,
It's very
man.
Asian.
If you ain't been to
Well, it's
Bangkok,
very
I tell you,
Asian.
the chairs might be
Yeah,
a
I
foot
know.
off the
I know.
ground, and they be packed. People sitting all around at a restaurant. I'm talking about. I ain't even talking about. You know, they cool though.
Well, here's
Shout
the
out to
thing.
Bangkok.
Yeah,
I
right. Well,
get
the
your
thing
point.
about
In
Bangkok
the U.S.,
too,
that's a whole different game plan. You're talking about Philly, or New York. That's a whole different demographic. To your point of not
it's a
knowing
very
your
different.
audience.
It's a very different demographic, and I mean, the thing in Bangkok is interesting because even when you go to the banks, um, the chairs are very, very narrow. I remember the first time I sat in a chair, and I mean, I'm not like plus size or anything, but that chair was so tight around my body, it was ridiculous. Anyway, that's a whole nother story.
Yeah, that's
But
all.
so
That
yeah,
whole
so
bank,
you
that whole
were, so
Bangkok thing. That's
your
the Bangkok and sizes. That's a whole nother blab. The shirt I got on
so
right now is
your
about a 10x here.
Can I finish my thought, please? Are you gonna let me finish?
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Love you, Bangkok.
Okay, I'm gonna let you finish.
I'm done. I'm done.
Okay, so it impacts your decor. It impacts your products, the staff that you pick, the furniture, your reading material, the decor, and also your marketing, as we mentioned. And the second thing that spas do is they they are successful in attracting their audience. They know where their audience is. So, one of the spas that I worked at, they wanted the business people coming in. This was their target audience. They wanted 30 somethings. So, what they would do is every night, this is when they first opened, the owners would go out and they would kind of hang out at the hot spots in Philly. They would go to where this audience hung out. So that would be the restaurants, it would be the bars. They introduced themselves to the concierges at the hotels. They went to the clubs. They went to the health clubs. Wherever they were. So that's one thing the successful spas know. They know who their audience is and they know where they are. Um, so that also speaks to social media because if you are trying to attract, let's say, 20 somethings, this is the target audience, you would not put your advertising on LinkedIn. You would put your advertising on Instagram, on Snapchat, on Facebook, because this is where most of your audience hangs out. Isn't that right, Noah?
Yeah, that's where. Yeah, and also I would say this to people: give yourself some time also to discover your audience. Don't jump too soon because sometimes people will do like one post and they will get one day of feedback and think they know their audience. And sometimes you got to test this stuff. Digital marketing is about testing. So put it out, see what the response is, try it a week later, try different times a day. Give yourself at least 30 days to really test before you even spend any money in terms of advertising, because even though the platforms are cheap or relatively cheap, you still want to test and make sure, because it could be that you got a good response because of the time of day. We're in a global economy. Like we saw here, right here in Bangkok, we said earlier, 7:39 p.m. We got Queen Bee in New Zealand, where it was, I think she said it was 12:29, a.m.
Mm-hmm.
We got other folks here, so
Mm-hmm.
it might be the time of day of where you are. So my point is, test, test, test again before you spend. But yeah, you want to be where your target audience is.
Yeah. Now, this third one that they do, this is a biggie. This is huge. And this is my favorite topic. They train their staff. Um, I do believe that this is why so many of the spas are not making out as well as they should. And let me just kind of break this down. What these very successful spas do is they do a lot of training. The spa where I used to work, I honestly thought, I thought the owner, I thought she was crazy at first. This woman was a training beast. As far as she was concerned, you could never be trained enough. And, sometimes you feel that way. But looking back, I definitely understand where she was coming from, because if you have someone who is very willing to train you over and over and over and over again, think about Olympic athletes. They never do enough training. You never reach perfection. And if you're open to training, you will always learn something new. Even when you think you know it all, you'll always get something new out of the training. So the top spas, this is what they do. They not only train a lot, they invest in training. They invest in training. However, you have to do the math, because you have to recognize that when you train your people, you're enabling yourself. If you're the owner of the spa or the manager, you're enabling that business to make more money. And really, it's all about the bottom line. Um, they cross train, and let me explain what that means. By that, I don't mean that if you have massage therapists, they should know how to do someone's nails. That's not what I mean. But when there's downtime, you allow that massage therapist to get their nails done so that they have knowledge of what that service is about. Or you allow that nail technician to have a massage. And they should not be, a little conversation should be going on while these services are being exchanged. They should understand the foundation of what each other does. Everybody in that spa should be able to relay the basics of almost every service that's in there. They don't have to know the ins and the outs and the whys and the wherefores, but they should have knowledge of the service, and they should be able to cross-sell that service. There should be a lot of that going on.
Mm.
The other way that you accomplish training is through your staff meetings. Staff meetings are so important. I'm a big fan of having a daily staff meeting. I think that's how you should open your day. I have to say that I got more out of meetings, and I used to love, and I shouldn't say staff meetings, status meetings every morning. You want to take a status of what's going on in each department, and everyone should be sitting in. We used to get so much information from listening to what was going on in the other departments, because that's where you find out where your problems are, or where the good things happen. What happened good yesterday?
Mm.
I made 10 sales. Yay for you. What did you sell? Everybody, that seems to be a hot product. Let's push this today. It's where you exchange information. That's critical. And then your staff meetings. You need to have your staff meetings at least once a month. And Norm, do you remember JD was saying how this is one of the few industries where management often seems to be scared of their reporting people?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think that's true. I think it's true. I understand how that could happen. And we talked about the fact that so many people in the industry, first of all, are introverts and not necessarily comfortable with speaking to a group of people in public. But the other thing that can't be overlooked is that management is a skill set. You aren't born knowing how to manage. So if you come from the ranks and you're thrust into that position, it is incumbent upon you. I mean, if you don't feel comfortable. Nobody's going to get rid of you, but you have to speak up and say, hey, you know what? Maybe I need to take a few classes. The company would subsidize that because it makes you better. Or you do it on your own. You do what you have to do to get up to speed. Because these things start to catch up with you, and you have to be believable to your team. Norm, do you have any comments about this?
No, my only comment was I was going to ask, since we got folks watching and we've given out several tips, what do you think is a secret to win, rather than, us? We've given out, how many have you given out so far? Three, I believe it was, three or four.
Three.
Three. So what do you think? Type it over in the chat area what you think number four is, and if you are right, you will get a free opportunity to download the ebook Retail Selling for Introverts 101. Yeah, you really will get a free opportunity to download it.
You really will. Okay. It's a good book too.
That's right. That's the prize.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. We'll let people think about that.
Yeah, that's a good prize.
Okay.
Okay.
All righty then. Right. So what do you think? If you know it, or if you want to jump in the hot seat, or the seat. We won't call it hot. It'll be the warm seat.
No, don't call
we're
it
in Bangkok. It'll be warm. It's warm.
I just unlocked the seat.
So if you have if you got a question, you're watching. That's the great thing about Blab, is that, we come on, we give out information. You heard Linda often gives out statistics about the industry and hard data and speakers, but also it's very interactive. So you can, like we're talking, there's video, it's audio, you can connect with us. So if you're watching and, you're over here, you want to jump on and share your insight, we want to give you that opportunity right now to do that as well. So that's all I had to say. That was my little contribution to the discussion at this point.
Well, I appreciate that very much. It was thank you. Yeah, I am, as I said, training is just a hot ticket item for me. So I'm still talking about number three. I'm still on number three because I'm going to wait and see.
For those who are just jumping on, why don't you real quickly go? We just not the whole, 1, 2, 3. Which word? Number one was what? Number two?
Okay. Number one was identify your audience, know who your audience is, because when you know your audience, you are able to structure your spa around them. And it impacts different things like your furniture, who you hire, the different products that you bring into the spa, your marketing. Number two is spas that are successful know where their market is. They know where to market to them. They know where they hang out on social media and also physically. Number three is they train their staff properly. They cross-train them. They make sure that everyone in the spa knows what the other department is doing. They have at least an idea. They allow them to get services from each other. They encourage them to get services from each other. And one of the things, with regard to training that I didn't mention is the vendors. Customers are very, very different nowadays. Today's customer is not like the customer 5 years ago. It's not like the customer 10 years ago. You have a lot of millennials who are coming to the spa. And millennials, they live on their mobile devices. They research everything. So I'm saying that to say that the training that these therapists have received for the last 10 years, it has to change. It has to do more than just let the therapist know, oh, these are the ingredients that are in the products. They got to know more than that, So the thing is that if your vendors are still delivering the same type of tired training, demand more from them, because guess what? There's a lot of product companies out there. A lot of these product companies are hungry. They are hungry. If you're dealing with a very established product line, they should be more than willing to go with the flow, to go with the times. They know the customers are changing. They know the competition is great. So I would think, just as a business, that they would want to work with you. But if you're dealing with companies that seem to be resistant, switch up.
Okay.
Don't stay with that. If they're not giving you what you need, it's time to
Hmm.
roll. Find somebody else.
Okay. Well, that sounds good. So those are the top three so far that these spies use to win. And I know we've had some more people join us, so we dropped those in the chat area. And what
Yeah.
before you give out number four, um, what is winning for spy people? Is winning like, hey, we just had a lot of people show up today? Is winning, um, we didn't have a lot of people show up today and nobody bought any products, but boy, it really smells good in here because the jasmine is wafting through and the music is so nice and the water rippling in the background just makes me feel so relaxed. I mean, well, how do they define winning?
Well, can I tell you how I define winning as a former therapist and as a spa trainer?
I would say yes. Yes, you can.
Okay. Okay. I'm going to tell you what winning means to me. What winning means to me is that my paycheck looks the way it's supposed to look.
Okay. Well,
Winning means to me, and I'm talking about from the perspective of the therapist, that my paycheck looks right. Because if my paycheck looks right, that means that the cash drawer
but let
is
me
right.
ask you this.
It means that
But
there
let me
is
let me
that.
just jump in and ask you this because the topic is what top spies do to you. So my question would be, just based on what you said so far from your perspective as a therapist,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
and this might be, part of the issue, the challenge, is what you say as a therapist defines winning the same as what a spa owner or a spa manager defines as winning. Because if those things are in alignment, then that's going to be a beautiful thing. If they're not, because sometimes when you're talking about retail selling and you're saying that, well, retail selling would one benefit the customer, and then two, if it's a commission based system, the therapist would make more money, and then three, it's also training itself is a way of investing into the therapist and helping them develop their skills. But the spa owners and managers are not investing in the training, or they don't offer a commission or an incentive system, then it seems like if you go to work for one of those places, that your winning and their winning are not the same winning. So that's part of what, I was just wondering, because we're talking about what they do to win, like how, do you think what you're defining as winning matches up with these owners?
Well, that's a good question, Norm. But the thing is this: what I have to do is to go back to the reports and what professional spa and wellness they're benchmarking. Uh, JM Pankey Partners, Day Spa Association. Um, these different reports that come out. These reports are based on revenues.
Okay.
They don't report on how nice the spa smells or how many thank you notes they got from the guests. They talk about the revenue dollars and they talk about the growth. And I think that, spas are businesses. The reason that businesses exist is to make money. So I think that winning by any measurement, if you're talking about a business, it can be defined by the health, whether it's financial, emotional. So I'm looking at the health of the business, how much it brings in, how much the therapists make, their mental and emotional well-being, because that definitely, to me, that's a big part of winning too, because you don't want for people to be making money but they're getting sick. They're going home because you're driving them so hard, which, as you know, is one of my issues with wellness, when they're with all of this conversation that's going around. And I'm like, well, how can you really talk about wellness in the workplace if people are not making the money that they need to make to pay their bills? But that's another story for another day. So for me, winning is when I make enough money and my spa makes enough money so that everyone is thriving and everyone is happy and satisfied. If a vendor is bringing in, as you put it last week, if a vendor is bringing in 300 products, if they're stocking the spa with 300 products, and in a month and a half, they're taking back 250 of the products, that's not winning. That's not a win. That's a loss. So that's how, for me, that's how I define it. Now, I don't know the folks who are watching. How do you define winning where you work? What do you think? And just before we get off of number 3, I have one more biggie that spas do, and that's that they check periodically to make sure that their staff knows what they're doing. And that doesn't necessarily mean in a negative way. They do what we call a temperature check to make sure that everybody's on board and that they're up to speed. That can be done using a secret shopper, or it can be done by just people having services, by management having services. I kind of like the secret shopper, though. I kind of like that. I think you get a better readout with that, particularly if that shopper is not just some random person, but someone who's actually worked in the spa industry and really knows what to look for. So what does everyone think about that so far? We have 2 more to go. Number 4.
These have been good insights.
Okay. Well, I have another good insight that spas do. Number 4 is they have great products. Great spas, winning spas have great products. They don't have some little random product thrown up there on the shelf that nobody wants. The products that are sitting on your shelves, you should want to take home with you. They should be great products. First of all, they should work. It makes me, oh, Lord, I'll tell you, I have been to some spas that are like really beautiful spas. And then you go to the product shelves and it's like, what is this? What is that? And sometimes the people don't even know what it is. Like, I think it's a scrub. Don't you know? And you want to have good looking, attractive products. And this also gets back to knowing your audience. If you have a lot of millennials coming to your spa, try to have products that have some type of a social consciousness behind them. A lot of millennials love that. It's just as easy for you to find a product that gives back to some great cause as a product that does not, especially nowadays. I know the spa that I worked at before, they had a line called Anthony. I used to bring that for you sometimes, remember? Anthony gave back to prostate cancer. And because I know people that has impacted, that meant something to me. So I would opt to buy Anthony products. over some other men's line.
Mm-hmm.
So
And just real
uh,
quick, let me just
you want
want to make this point real
go on.
quick for people. Give like a marketing tip inside of a
Mhm.
marketing tip. If you notice the
Yeah.
Anthony, which is doing a men's line, products, and then you think about the whole prostate cancer, which disproportionately, of course, impacts men. It's like their CRM or their cause-related marketing tied back to their target audience. Okay, which gets back to what we started out with earlier when we were saying know your audience. So it's very smart of them, like to not only do something that's good, it's a great cause, but also there are some, it drags along some exposure within their target audience as well.
Mhm. I saw a product line today on LinkedIn. Don't ask me the name of it, but I wrote it down somewhere. I thought he did such a phenomenal job with it because what I noticed is that as I clicked through it, first of all, he had this great assortment of products for men. But the other thing is that I was seeing in his marketing very diverse models, which I thought was great. Because I thought, okay, when I see this picture, to me, that speaks to the fact that he probably has products for men who get shaving bumps. So that's the other thing too, and knowing your audience. If you are in an urban area, or let's say you're in an area that has people with curlier hair, you'll want to make sure that the products that you carry are suitable for them. So don't just go find any old random product. Make sure that your audience, your target audience, is meaningful for them, that they actually want to buy that product, that they can use it, that it helps them. Something else I noticed too, Norm, and that I thought was so fabulous at the spot that I came from, she always had what I call a high low. So if you had, and we had those products that went up to $600, but she also had products that were what I used to call the first cousin of the $500, and they would be like $125. So you want to give your guests options. So if you want to go that route where you have extremely high products, always have like a maybe a medium version of that as well.
Mm-hmm.
You want to make sure that you give out choices. These products are very, very important. And that's one thing that spas that win that they do well. They'll have a good assortment. They have a range.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. It's easy to sell stuff that is
And
great and that works because uh, people want value for their money. Whether that's baht,
they do. They do.
dollars, euros, pesos. You know, it has to deliver value. And if you're talking about spa, where people are coming for their skin or because of they have pain and there was a massage product to help. If they just want the room to smell good, whatever, the product needs to deliver. They need to feel like for what I paid, I got that level of value, if not that level of value and more. So that's important. Great products.
Well, and that just reminded me today, because I guess I need to mention this too, that what spas that win, what they do is they ensure that their people know the products too. And I can't say that enough because, this morning I was talking to my sister. I don't know if I mentioned this to you. I was talking to my sister and she was telling me about a massage club that she just dropped them. But it's a very, very well known
Okay.
massage club. And she said, Linda, she said, I'm so sensitive about this now because you always talk about it. She said, I've been going there. Never when I go do they ever mention the products to me. And she said, I've seen it myself. They have this product. She said, that's a cream and it's for sore muscles. She said, I come in there twice a month to get a massage. The massage therapist doesn't mention it to me. The front desk does not mention it to me. I don't understand this. So that's the other thing that top spas do is they know the products and they tell the guests about the products. They educate the guests. And that's how you sell products too, by the way. That's how everybody wins. It puts money in everybody's pocket. Also, how are your products available to your people? Are they available on your website? Because I'll tell you something. Here's a key to building out your guest list. What you have to do, you know who your guests are. You market to your guests. You get them into your spa and give them the best service ever. You sell them the appropriate products, and then you make the products available to them 24/7. They should not have to come into your spa to replenish their products. What if they move? What if they change states? They should be able to call your spa or get online and order their products from you. So that's huge because if you don't do it, some other spa will do it.
Yes, particularly when you got,
Did you
well,
know that,
yeah, like
Norm?
you said, particularly when you have 100, how many spas did you say? 100,000 spas. So,
100,000 spas global, and it's still
yeah, so
growing.
chances are, yeah, if you're not
Somebody's
going to
doing it.
do it, and not only that, there was another. I know we're about to wrap up here, but you talked earlier about
Mhm.
how most people are not actually purchasing products at spa, right? You gave out some stat this week where you
Oh,
were like, it was some amazing number that you shared. What was that?
it was incredible. I'll have to. It came from a site called Beauty in the Bag, and they were doing a poll. I took the poll, and you know how when you take a poll now and you click or you check, and then the results come up right away. The poll was, where are you buying your beauty products? So I clicked on spa. And when the results came up, it said it was something like 39% of people buy their beauty products from retail outlets like Sephora or Ulta. 30 something percent buy their products from online. 30 something percent get their products from department stores. And 3% get their products from spas. I had to clutch my pearls. I almost passed out. I was upset. And I thought, now see, this doesn't even make any sense. It didn't even make sense. I'm telling you, it just upset. It messed my day up. I thought this is outrageous. We
That'll
have to
do
do
it.
better. That's crazy. Beauty in the Bag, people, check it out. If you go to my Twitter, I will repost it on Twitter after this. I mean, if you work at a spa, come on, that has to be
Wow,
upsetting.
unbelievable.
Um, Unbelievable. So the last thing they do is they check out well. They check their people out well. They don't have the guests fiddling around while they fiddle around. And before that guest comes out of the room, they have lined up that information so they can get them out quickly if they choose to go. Um, and they have a loyalty card system set up so that the guest is enticed to come back again. Uh, they make sure that they get their information, their email address, so that they can get in touch with them, send them specials or whatever. So that's huge because do you let people, and remember, folks, 100,000 spas. And I think what's happening, Norm, is that, I think a lot of these CEOs are unbothered because they see people coming in the front. There are a lot of people coming to spas. The question is, are you retaining them? I think that's why they're so unbothered. The retention is not what it should be. How could it be? How could it be? When you have spas selling 3 to 10% retail, and we all know that one of the ways, whether it's a spa or salon, one of the ways to retain your customers is through the sale of retail because of the engagement. And you know, if you sell two products, it increases their chance of returning to you by, iSpot says by 80%.
Wow.
That's phenomenal. That's huge, huge. And if you sell them one product, it's by 40%. Now, those numbers vary, but not that much.
And also, I've
You
learned from
know,
talking with you that the profit margin is higher on retail products than it is on the
it's higher on
services.
retail
So that's another
than on treatments. That's right, than on
another
services.
reason to pump up your retail sales game. Sounds like to me.
Oh, especially yeah, if you're a spa manager, and I mean, you know, because retail is the gift that keeps on giving. Because you think about it, maybe maybe someone doesn't have time to get a treatment. As I said before, maybe they moved, maybe they rolled out of state, you know, they've relocated, but they have this product. I know we had a product, Biologique P50 lotion. Women were addicted to it. They would swear by it. I don't care where they were in the world. They were sending. They would order it from the spa, and that's something else I want to say too, folks. If you do have an online system, people can call your spa and order the products. Put a nice little note in there for you. You are branding yourself. Okay, it's a reminder. So put a cute little note in there and put some samples in there. Don't just send them the product. You know, remind them of if you have something new going on, let them know. Maybe they're not in the area, but their girlfriend is. Keep them up to date. It's like family. Okay, keep them in the loop for real. You know, it should be a two-way street going on.
Wow, 5 good tips there, people. For everyone who just joined us, that was very good. All makes sense too.
News you can use. It all makes sense. And I would say that if you manage a spa or if you own a spa, you do these things, you'll be a top spot. You're
Let
on
us
your way.
know, and if you do them, put them to the test. Like I said earlier about the when you're going after your target audience, what people should do is try them. If you're not doing them, try, put them to the test, implement them, try them for 30 days, and look at where you are at the beginning, and then look at where you are 30
Mhm.
days later. Because, as you said, people are in business to make a profit. And one thing we know is that the language of business is numbers. If you don't track it, if you don't know your start point, your end point, we talk about digital marketing. The thing that has allowed digital marketing to just really crush traditional marketing, and why when you look at the numbers today, more and more companies are allocating larger shares of their money to digital versus traditional, is because they can track it better. They can find out what you clicked on, what time of day did you click it, how, what is your age, what's your gender, what's your preference, where were you before you came to my site, where are you going when you leave my site. So those types of insights and tracking data you could not get when you bought an ad on a Super Bowl or you did an ad on a radio or newspaper. And so the point is, the better you can track your data and turn that data into meaningful information so that you make better business decisions, then the more profit you're going to make, and the better service you're going to deliver to that target audience. Okay, it's not just about making profit. It's about servicing these people who come to you, and that's really the ultimate goal. You can bring those things together, but we talked about the importance of service in terms of giving people great return on investment and so forth. So just want to add that track your numbers. And with spas, one thing we've seen is that a lot of people become spa managers because they came through the ranks. Maybe they were a good technician. Maybe they used to do something else in the spa. But the point is that they lack a lot of business sense and a lot of business skills. So some of them may be missing the importance of these numbers and KPIs, key performance indicators, and things like that. Turnover. Some of these, how often is your inventory turning over? What is your revenue per technician? Things like that. And it's no problem because, we're here to help. You can go to the website, moontideconsulting.com, and get some of that information, some tools there. Got some free resources there. Of course, you can go to normbondmarkets.com, my website, get lots of great digital marketing tips and tools because we're in the era of information. Linda, you mentioned earlier, had the information be free, had the information collaborate. I mean, there's a lot of data out there and information about the collaborative and sharing economy. So be a part of it. Join us. Get on the train. Ride with us. Ride straight to the top. Shoot off your rocket of desire. Make it happen. That's all I got to say.
Okay. Well, with that said, then I think that what we're going to do, Norm, is to wrap up and everyone know that we are here at 7:30 on Fridays. So thank you for joining us tonight. If there are no questions, if there are no comments, and we will see you next Friday on the Global Spa Blab.
Okay, and that's all I had to say.
Yeah, you ready?
You can check out. And that was 7:30 BKK time. So if you're looking at your clock right now, I'm saying 7:30. What are you talking about? What you talking about, Willis? Yeah, that's what time it is in Bangkok, Thailand, where we're located. So you make the adjustments to wherever you are.
If you subscribe, they don't have to make the adjustment. All they have to do is to subscribe. If they subscribe, they will get a notice in their time.
Booyah! All right. Talk to you.
Boom.
Talk to you people later on.
All right, everybody.
Lessons. One love. Take care. Okay. Sell something.
Yes. Take care. Bye-bye.